Hello everyone, welcome along to Live on Air this Sunday evening, and it gives me a great deal of pleasure to be able to introduce the Revs Kuli Fisi'ahi up in Dargaville, the Reverend Manoa Havea in New Plymouth, and the Reverend Neti Petaia in Christchurch. We've known each other now for a long time, and these guys have what I call vibrant ministries. They're just simply excellent. They're all doing ministry projects that if I was 30 years younger, I would want to follow these guys. And tonight we're just going to look at the vibrancy of those ministries, and I'll get each of them just to say who they are and a little bit about their family, and then we'll get into the topic. So we'll start with Kuli.
Manoa Lele, I'm Reverend Kuli. I'm the parish superintendent here in Dargaville, Wesley Methodist Dargaville. I've been here for 4 years, and I have a family, my wife Lucy, and 3 kids, 3 children. We are supporting one another during when we started our ministry here in Dargaville, up in the north of New Zealand. We are the only parish that the pure Methodist parish here in the whole of the Northland.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we are. Is there actually a pure Methodist parish? I thought they were all impure, Kuli.
No, we are the only pure Methodist here at the Northland.
Yeah.
You know, we are very strong community parish. We are very connected to the community. I see myself as a thinker and also a doer. I also since we started my appointment here, I install a few projects within the community, and I'm having the support of my parish into running those projects.
We're going to discuss those projects during the next half hour. And Kuli and Neti were both in the East Coast Bays Parish a few years ago. But Manoa, where are you located in Aotearoa, New Zealand?
Thanks, David. I'm at Taranaki. I'm the parish superintendent here at North Taranaki Methodist Parish. I'm also like Kuli's parish. It's a pure Methodist parish. And I'm here with my wife, Akanesi, and 3 children and 1 grandchild. Grandchild.
And how long have you been in the parish?
I've been here for 4 years now. Going 4 years. It'll be 4 years in February next year.
Okay, that's great. And with a lot of pleasure, I'd just like to flick over to the Reverend Neti Petaia, who used to be the flying courier around Auckland, I think, but now he's the flying minister around Christchurch North. Neti, great to see you on the program. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Hi, my name is Neti Petaia. I am, like Kuli and Manoa, we're in the same year at college. So I'm the parish superintendent here at Christchurch North, Methodist Parish here in Tapanui, if you know Christchurch well. This is our 4th year here in ministry. We have our family here, and our congregation in our parish is a mixture of different people, from different denominations. But I'm a bit cautious in using the term pure Methodist at this point, David. So it's a mixture of people from different denominations making up the parish. And it's been a good parish, and we have 3 of our children back here with us. only one in Auckland now, but yeah, ministry has been quite challenging in the 4 years that I've been down here.
Yeah, I think Neti, that's absolutely right. The most Methodist parishes now are made up of people of all sorts of different denominations in them, even though they are under the sort of Methodist umbrella. It's fantastic to see you three guys. We've got 4 concurrent viewers with us. If any viewers want to feed the questions, they can click on the Q&A and feed some questions in. And the first question that I'm going to select is for each of them to tell us about the ministries that they do, with what projects they've been involved with. And I am going to start with Kuli. And I'm just going to bring up the slide share that we've got for Kuli. And I've called it Aotea Ministries to represent all the things that are happening. But Kuli, you've sent me some images through. Brass Night. How did this happen? Tell us about Brass Night, please.
Yep. The brass band, it came to me. It's a calling from the community to revive the Dargaville town band that has been disappeared from the community since 1975. Last year they celebrate the 100 years of having their brass band, but the band has been disappeared for 40 years, from 1975 to 2015. And the community called me to if I can restart the band, and so we collected the old instrument from the school, from homes that has been there for decades. Then I called the community. We need money to buy this instrument, and in just 2 weeks we collected more than $20,000.
That's incredible.
And then money we purchased 17 new instrument, and then we started to search for players. And those people in the photos, they are mixed culture. They are Tongans, they are Maori, and they are Palangi. And we found out the idea that I picked up from the Sistema, the founder of the Sistema program. If you remember that video that we watched in East Coast Bay, that inspired the young children to connected to music and found themselves belonging to a group, and that's how it works. And we are more than 20 people are connected to the band, and majority are from the intermediate and primary school level. And
I think that's absolutely fantastic effort, Kuli, because what you've achieved is that you've got not only all kinds of different people young people coming together around music, but you've connected them to the church, to the community, to the music community. I think it's one of the fantastic efforts that really. I know that it's been advertised in Touchstone and in other Methodist places, but I think it's an outstanding ministry that you've got going there. Manoa, just flick over to you, and just wondering whether you have anything that you would want to say about music with your youth group, because you've got a vibrant youth group going too.
Yes, David. I think young people, working together with these young people, one of their interests is music. And just very lately, I've applied for some fund, and we just bought our new instruments, because I identified some of our young people. They are very skillful in playing different instruments, and you know, the purpose of doing this is to, you know, if you don't provide for our young people's needs, they tend to go out, you know, somewhere else where they find, you know, things for themselves to do, especially in music. So, you know, just this year we bought our new instruments, just few instruments for those young people that I've identified that they're skillful in playing music. And the reason for doing this is, you know, to encourage our young people to be able to lead our praise and worship services on Sunday. And you know, it really encourages not only the young people but also our older folks.
All right.
Because
what about over in your? We're going to talk about your building projects soon. But do you have in this new building, post-earthquake reconstruction, do you have young people involved in music in the way that Kuli and Manoa do?
Are you talking to me now, David?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to talk a little bit about that because we wanted to carry on the Let the Children Live thing for the church. And part of that now is extending the children's ministry. And we have now a children's band. I will give you the link to the blog site that we have for our children ministry, where a lot of those video clips and pictures of the work that we do. We have a children's band now. Fortunately for us, we had some donations from people in the parish to buy equipment for the band, new guitars and drum kits and stuff. But we also bought some ukuleles for the other children who may want to be part of the band, but weren't able to play other instruments like guitars and stuff like that. So yeah, so we're continuing with that in our children ministry, but we also have, in conjunction with that, an outreach to the community where we have something called a musical kits on a Friday morning, where we connect with children in the community who aren't directly involved in the life of our parish. So that's the work we're doing with the young people. And our youth group, currently we're looking at 10 to 12 new people joining. Mind you that when we came down here, there was no youth group at all. So that's the next thing that we're working on, and I'm relying on my daughter to actually get that going in the next couple of weeks when we launch that initiative. So yeah, that's the answer to that question, David.
Well, I mean, across the three of you, in each of these locations in New Zealand, each of you has achieved a kind of vibrant ministry around music. Now, I'm not sure whether this started from when Reverend Kuli first recorded his ukulele ode. Was it? He made a song to was it a 90-year-old or someone in your congregation, Kuli? And that went on radio, and then it went national. Just explain how you use that music for your that particular one.
One of our poets at church, celebrated 90th birthday, and I visited her at the rest home, and he gave me a poem to read on celebrating her birthday at church. Instead of reading it, I put a music into it, to that poem, and then I'll turn it into a music, and then I played it. That shocked the families, and the congregation, and some people in the community heard about it, and they wanted to record that song. I found out a music that a very country tune that connected to the community, and the words of the poem was so lovely, and that's really touched everyone that been journey that far, 90 years, and the words not the words that comes out that's really inspired people that traveled that far from to 90 years, and that's how it went out viral in the community, and also the primary school asked me if I be one of their ukulele tutor, and then yes, then I did. I did go there every Wednesday to teach the ukulele lesson to young ones. I've recorded free music now with my ukulele, and making to fill in a CD to release in the next church conference.
That's fantastic. Because you're an expert player, aren't you? I mean, you've been playing all the time from a young boy. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. That for those that's Friday Frenzy. We are the only Friday Frenzy is the only children gathering during the school, not in the school holidays, but during the school, in a Friday, and 3 Fridays in a row, we gather the children to come to our church, and we play music with karaoke using the skills of using the technologies for the first time, playing video music on the screen, and the kids are singing with karaoke as you watch them on video. And those T-shirts were donated by Finau Halalewa's wife, who's manager one of the warehouse in Auckland. And she sell to us those T-shirts cheap for our little one, and we feed them. We give them crafts to make, and that pictures. It's the Pununga Mercy Play Group. That's the Tongan play group that we started here with Lucy, and the one on the right, that's Lucy and the Maori play group. Those that never been connected to the ECE before, and we targeted the 3 and 4 years old, making sure that they know their colors, their shapes, and started to spelling before going to the transition to primary school. And the Ministry of Education and really supporting us. I look at it and found that really connected to my ministry to let the children live, and that's how our congregation, wife, and my family are supporting this project. And also, if you look behind me, you can see a computer here.
Yeah.
If you look at me, there's a computer behind me. That's a local radio station that I run it from the parsonage.
Oh, have you got like a Tongan radio station?
That's a Tongan radio station.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our parish is so willing to pay for the kikapai.
Was that set up by Keith Moala?
No.
Oh, so it's a different one. Yeah.
We set it up ourselves.
Right. And so it can broadcast out over Dargaville. What's it got, about a 5 kilometre range or something like that? But all the towns.
5 kilometres. 5 kilometres.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, are you broadcasting us live on air, live on your Tongan radio at the same time, Kuli?
No, there's it's live from Tonga now to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another fantastic initiative of sort of local people working at these things. Manoa, just flicking over to you, have you had kids that you've been supporting through the sort of Let the Children Live campaign? Has that come up at all in the New Plymouth Parish?
Just definitely through our Sunday school programs. We are supporting the Let the Children Live, and actually I'm just behind the scene, but you know, our Sunday school superintendent and the Sunday school teachers are organizing the programs for the Leave the Children Fund, Let the Children Live program.
So the range of your youth ministries, it goes out into music, it goes out into the social action like Let the Children Live, but you've built a really big dynamic youth group there in New Plymouth. I understand it's sort of one of the biggest youth groups in the country. How does that feel for you, Manoa? You must be very happy to have, you know, built that up over the last 4 years.
Definitely, David. It's been a very successful program, building up our youth group. When I got here, we only have 13 young people. That is age 13 upwards, 13, 1-3, and you know, being in a Pala. It was hard to see young people. Luckily, we have families and a common family and my children. So I decided that you know, in order for this congregation to start,
we're just getting a breakup of your sound, Manoa. Sorry to interrupt there. So just try. Could you just repeat the last couple of sentences again, because the sound quality broke up?
Yeah, you know, being in a family congregation, it's always hard to see people at church. And luckily, we had 8 Fijian families in our congregation and two Tongan families. So in total, we have 13 young people. So I decided to start a youth group. The first year we just do normal programs, and I asked the young people what do they want us to do. And they told me, you know, lots of things that they want to do, apart from, you know, Bible studies and things. And I noticed that these young people, they are capable of leading and, you know, organizing themselves. So I play my part as just, you know, walking alongside them, being a mentor or something, and setting up programs that will achieve our goal. And you know, they chose one theme for us on the first year, was that to know Christ and to make Him known. And the second year, I said to them, well, we have to know Christ first before we can let others know about Christ. So we start, you know, doing some, you know, basic Bible studies, just nurture them with, you know, prayers and talking about life and God, and about that, to pass words around and reach out to 2 colleges just nearby. And the first meeting that we had on our second year, the total number of young people who came was about 30 plus young people. And most of them who came were not Methodists. They've never been to church before. Some of them are Pakeha, some of them are Maori, and Some of them are from different countries, even Africa, India. And those young people who came on the second year stayed on and were part of my youth group up until last year, where majority were year 13. So they participate not only in youth programs, but also in our church services. I also organize Whakame here at New Plymouth, and I just call it the Children's Sunday, where young people and our Sunday school together, they organized a program for that particular Sunday.
Right.
Support, especially from very old Palangi in my congregation, and they supported me very much on my ministry with young people.
See, I think what we're seeing in a place like New Plymouth, which in some ways is geographically isolated from the rest of New Zealand, but nevertheless, you've got that whole range of ethnicities, the whole range of cultures. Within the New Plymouth Methodist scene, you've got a very big Samoan congregation, you've got those Fijian families, you've got some Tongan families, African, etc. So in reality, New Plymouth is no different from multicultural Auckland, and the same is true in maybe to a lesser extent in Dargaville, but it's still multicultural in Dargaville, and certainly back down in Christchurch, you're back in the area of multiculturalism again. Now, I want to say thank you both to Manoa and Kuli very much for explaining your incredible outreach with children. But I'd like to flick over to Neti now. And Neti, you have had a very interesting ride in the last few years, because the parish you went to was badly affected by the earthquake, and some buildings went down, etc. Tell us about what it's like to be involved in a rebuilding project in the Methodist Church of New Zealand.
Thank you, David, for asking that question, because as a probationer coming out of college, and for the first 2 years, we found ourselves in a situation where we didn't really have a home. We were worshipping in a different place. And thankfully to the Catholics who allowed us to use their building, until we built our church. And within that period, being a probationer and being looking at the situation and trying to put something in place as where to go to. So part of that challenge was to talk and have a really heart-to-heart kind of conversation with the congregation, actually asking really where they want to be post-earthquake. And so the conversation happened, although I was told by someone not to be involved in any actual planning of the building and everything. So, I mean, at the end, I eventually got involved, but it was a challenging process, David, if I could put it that way. People were really in a position where they weren't really sure and had no clue at all where to go. But I think having someone like myself at that point in time, actually the parish were looking at me for guidance in what we need to do. And so I spoke to the superintendents at that point and try to work out a way we can move forward. So we were able to break the congregation down into smaller groups of 3 or 4 families, facilitate some conversation around where we wanted to go. And so then at the end of that process, we put together all the feedback from the families, and then we were able to gauge what sort of the next move that we're going to take. So in doing that, so we kind of brought everyone in and got everyone involved, although there were really not in committee where we had to make the decisions, but the initial thought was to bring everybody on board and understand what they want. Because at the end, it's not about the minister, it's not what the minister wants, it's what the congregation wants for them. So yeah, that's in brief, the process that we do. But it's been challenging.
I mean, very few ministers get to be involved in a building project at any level in the church. And I guess what happened with the Christchurch earthquakes was that a whole lot of ministers suddenly and congregations suddenly had to think. But of course, that's extended with various strengthening regulations, seismic regulations in different places have had to think their way through different situations. But just going to one final question there, Neti, what would you believe that the building is an expression of the spirituality of the people in the congregation?
Yeah, what we got now, David, and Manoa and Kuli and others who are listening in, what we got now is actually an expression of what the people actually want. To be a church that appealing to the community, and it's what everyone wanted, and so yeah. So the building that we have now is quite modern and quite appealing to people. So inviting the community and because that's what people want, to have a building and to have a church that is no longer about confining ourselves in the walls and windows, but to be a church that expresses to everyone that this is a place to be and this is where and who we are. So yeah, I hope that answered the question, David.
Oh, that's a brilliant answer, because the church cannot be isolated from the community in which it's placed, and so anything that allows, whether it's the ministry of the presbyter or the ministry of the laity, or whether it's the building itself, anything that gets that community interaction going. And I mean, if very briefly, if each of you would like to just say one thing that has excited you most in ministry during your 4 years. I know that it's impossible to sort of isolate it down to one, but is there anything that kind of stands out for you, whether it's been the help of family and spouse, or whether it's been the help of congregations? Is there something that really stands out for you that makes you think, yes, this is how I've managed to achieve the vibrant ministry that I have achieved? Is there any guiding word that each of you would like to say to the rest of us?
I'm going to start because I can only think of one word, David, and that is relationship. Yeah, because if you don't develop a relationship with people, people will not understand what you want. And by having that relationship, you're able to delegate, you're able to express the things that you want to do in ministry with others. And then if you have them on board with you, your work is much easier. Well, that's my feeling anyway.
That's a brilliant answer, Neti. Thank you. Let's go back up the line. We'll go to Manoa in Palmerston, not Palmerston North. We'll go to Manoa in New Plymouth. Any words of wisdom from you, Manoa? Is there something that stands out for you?
It was, I feel like a difference in your ministry, and you tend to go support, not only from the people themselves, but also from your family. That's how I feel, and I'm more excited than that. Because, when I came in, they saw me as a very young presbyter compared to a priest and presbyter who was here before. But difference in ministry.
Yeah, didn't pick that up. We are still having that problem with your audio. You want to try just saying that through again?
I was just saying that when you make a difference in our ministry, you tend to get all the support from your parishioners. As a young presbyter, compared to a very senior presbyter who was here before me, the people themselves, they commented on the difference ministry that I bring to this place, and they tend to support me more, and that's the joy of being here in this very special part of New Zealand.
Gotcha. Loud and clear that time. So I'm not sure if you did something to the microphone or what, but that too is a great answer. And now we'd better go up to the King of Tonga of the North. That's right. He's the king of the Palangi, and he's king of the Māori as well, because of this unique ministry that just goes in every direction. Kuli, one particular thing stand out for you over the 4 years?
Yeah, thank you, David. It's the enjoyment of being in the ministry. As you all know, when we were here before the stationing, we came here on a field trip before stationing, and none of us wanted to come here. And when I came here for the first time, I found, it was right. Being in the ministry is a boring work. It is boring to be in a ministry, this kind of profession. But I put it this way: when I get connected to the ministry, the relationship that I build up between myself, my wife, my children, congregation, and the community, that excitement, I feel enjoy of what I am doing. If I can't enjoy what I'm doing, it will be going back to the boring that I'm. And the way that I do it, I'm so happy to do what I'm doing. I love it, and I enjoy it because I know that my family enjoy it, and the congregation enjoy it, and the trust that the community had in me. The community keep asking me to do this because they know it's going to happen, it's going to work. The congregation believe in the organization that I started to help our finances, selling the leftover kumaras every year. That every year that Agape Project donated more than $10,000 every year to our finances. That is the excitement and enjoyment of being in the ministry. I looked at it and I have to enjoy it, and because of the relationship between myself, my wife, and family. And
I mean, I think, Kuli, that too is a fantastic answer, and one of the things that I think is outstanding for all three of you is that you have built these relationships up incredibly successfully in different areas, different ministry contexts, but you're all saying that it's how you get on with people that counts. And that's what gives, ministry can be very boring if you don't have that excitement of being with people. Or if you want to, if people want to tell you what to do, or you want to tell them what to do, that's kind of boring. But when you get these projects going, the King Kuli with multiple tentacles out into the community, Manoa with this fantastic youth work, Neti with all the kinds of things of the building project. These ministries are vibrant, and the only note of sadness that I've got for all three of you and for myself is because we've been around on quite an incredible journey around Turkey not so long ago. And I am often looking back at those photographs in particular places and places we stayed, and the terrible things that are now happening in that country. And the way around avoiding the problems of modern society, I think you guys have got it. It's about building relationships and positive things. And I just want to say thank you very much. Well, I think it's time to bring our broadcast to a close. We've had quite a few viewers with us, and that's been great. So I'll say good night, and quick good night from you, and then I'll stop the broadcast.
Start from the
Mahalo, Peter David.